Hello. Thank you for watching the video until the end. My goal is to reach 1,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel. If you're interested in this type of content, please subscribe. I would be grateful to you. Let's move on to the story. The Ivanov family lived in a small town on the outskirts of Russia. Pyotr and Olga, a young couple, had just become parents to a little girl named Katya. They decided to hire a nanny to help take care of the child while they worked. After a thorough search, they chose Larisa, a middle-aged woman with extensive experience in childcare. The first few weeks with Larisa were perfect. She was caring, attentive, and very experienced. Katya seemed to adore her nanny, and the parents were happy to have found such a wonderful person. But one night, Pyotr woke up to a strange sound. He went to check if everything was all right and saw Larisa in Katya's room. She was sitting in a rocking chair, quietly singing an old lullaby. The next day, Pyotr asked Larisa about the lullaby, and she explained that it was a song her own grandmother used to sing to her in childhood. This explanation seemed reasonable to Pyotr, and he thought no more of it. However, from then on, he began to notice oddities. Larisa started spending more and more time with Katya, hardly giving the parents a chance to spend time with their own child. Olga noticed this too and felt uneasy. One day, coming home earlier than usual, Olga heard a loud cry from the nursery. She rushed in and saw Larisa holding Katya in her arms, whispering something to her. When Olga demanded an explanation, Larisa just smiled and said the child was hungry. But there was something sinister in the nanny's eyes that made Olga wary. That night, Olga and Pyotr decided to talk to Larisa and find out what was going on. They invited her for a conversation and, gathering their thoughts, started asking questions. Larisa answered calmly at first, but then her face suddenly changed. She began to tell them that many years ago, she had a daughter who died under tragic circumstances. Katya reminds me of her, Larisa said, her eyes filling with tears. The parents were shocked by this revelation but decided that Larisa needed a break. They suggested she take some time off to rest and recover. Larisa agreed but asked to stay the night to say goodbye to Katya. The parents couldn't refuse her this. That night, when everyone went to bed, Olga woke up to some noise. She went to Katya's room and found the crib empty. In panic, she woke Pyotr, and they began searching the house for Larisa and Katya. Suddenly, they heard a faint cry from the basement. Pyotr rushed there and found Larisa sitting on the floor, rocking Katya and whispering, "Now you'll be mine forever." Pyotr tore the child from her arms and called the police. Larisa was arrested and taken to a psychiatric hospital. It turned out that after the tragic death of her daughter, she had suffered from a mental disorder, and Katya had become an obsession for her. The Ivanov family took a long time to recover from this ordeal. Olga and Pyotr did everything possible to forget this horrific experience and protect their daughter. But the memories of that night stayed with them forever. The Petrov family lived in a large house on the outskirts of the city. They had a little daughter named Anna and hired a nanny named Maria to help take care of the child. Maria was young and energetic, with excellent references. At first, everything went well. Anna quickly bonded with Maria, and the parents were pleased with her work. One evening, when the Petrovs went out for an event, Maria stayed with Anna. The parents left instructions and a phone number for emergencies. The evening began peacefully, but a few hours later, the Petrovs' phone rang. It was Maria. Her voice was tense and worried. "Anna is missing," she said. Pyotr and Olga immediately returned home. They found Maria in tears, sitting on the couch. She explained that she went to the bathroom for a few minutes, and when she returned, Anna was gone. The parents began searching the house, checking every corner, but they found no sign of the girl. The police were called immediately. The police thoroughly searched the house and the surrounding area but found no traces of Anna. They began questioning Maria, who was clearly in shock. She repeated the same story: "I was in the bathroom, and when I came back, she was gone." However, the officers noticed some inconsistencies in her account. For instance, the time she claimed to have spent in the bathroom seemed too long for a simple task. The police decided to check Maria's phone records and discovered that she had frequently contacted an unknown number over the past month. During the investigation, it was revealed that this number belonged to her ex-boyfriend, with whom she had a complicated relationship. The police began to suspect that Maria might be involved in Anna's disappearance. Interrogation of Maria revealed even more oddities. Her stories were full of contradictions, and eventually she confessed that her ex-boyfriend Oleg had come to the house that night. She claimed he wanted to see her and that she let him in for a few minutes. However, she insisted he couldn't have been involved in Anna's disappearance. The police detained Oleg and searched his apartment. In one of the rooms, they found dolls resembling small children, and one of the dolls was dressed in clothes similar to those Anna wore on the day she disappeared. Oleg vehemently denied his involvement, but the evidence was against him. Maria was also arrested for complicity. Olga and Pyotr were devastated. They had lost their daughter and didn't know if they would ever see her again. Months passed with no new leads. The family lived in constant fear and despair, not knowing what had happened to their beloved Anna. One day, a year after the disappearance, the police received an anonymous tip. The tip mentioned an abandoned house on the outskirts of the city where a little girl had been seen. The police immediately went to the location and found Anna. She was emaciated but alive. The girl was rushed to the hospital, where she received necessary care. It turned out that Oleg had indeed kidnapped Anna and kept her captive all this time. Maria, knowing about his plans, tried to cover for him, but later realized her terrible mistake. Thanks to the anonymous tip, Anna was rescued. The Petrov family was finally reunited, but they had a long road to recovery ahead. Anna needed extensive therapy to cope with the horrors she had experienced, and the parents did everything they could to create a safe and loving environment for her. The Sidorov family recently moved into an old mansion inherited from a distant relative. The mansion was large and beautiful, but required a lot of upkeep. The Sidorovs had a little daughter named Masha, and they decided to hire a nanny to help take care of her while they dealt with the renovations and settling into their new home. The nanny they chose was named Elena. She was a mature woman with many years of experience. Masha immediately liked Elena, and everything went smoothly. The house had many rooms, and one day Elena found a door leading to a small, abandoned room. It was locked, and the key was nowhere to be found. Elena asked the Sidorovs about the room, but they themselves didn't know about it. The estate was old, and they hadn't yet had a chance to explore every corner. They decided not to give it much importance and continued with their daily routines. However, Elena couldn't shake the feeling that there was something important in that room. One day, when she was alone in the house, she decided to break the lock. Inside, she found old toys, furniture, and photographs. In one of the photographs, she recognized a little girl who looked remarkably like Masha. Elena was intrigued and decided to find out more. She began researching the history of the family that had previously owned the house. It turned out that many years ago, a family had lived in this house with a little daughter who had tragically died. Elena was shocked by this discovery and decided to tell the Sidorovs. When she showed them the photograph and told them about the room she had found, the Sidorovs were stunned. They didn't know how to react to this information. However, Elena insisted that they explore the house further to understand what had happened. Soon after, Masha started behaving strangely. She began talking about an invisible friend who played with her and told her stories. Elena and the parents thought it was just her imagination, but soon strange things began to happen. Toys moved on their own, doors slammed without drafts, and odd noises were heard in the house. Elena decided something was wrong in the house and suggested they call a paranormal specialist. The Sidorovs were initially skeptical, but eventually agreed to calm Elena. The specialist conducted an investigation of the house and confirmed there was a lot of negative energy. He suggested conducting a cleansing to get rid of it. During the ceremony, the story of the little girl, whose photograph was found, came to light. She had died in an accident, and her grieving parents had locked her room and never entered it again. The Sidorovs were deeply moved by this story. They decided to completely cleanse the house and dedicate the room to the memory of the deceased girl. After that, the strange occurrences stopped, and the house became peaceful again. Elena continued to work with the Sidorovs, and Masha returned to being her usual cheerful self. However, the memories of those strange days remained with them, a reminder that some secrets of the past are best left undisturbed.